So your son was into animals and you're like, Borneo. Well, I'd go the zoo.
Start moisturising your neck now.
Oh my God.
Because your neck is the bit that will age you.
Have you been with Cally Beaton? Yeah, she does eat cat food
Smells
though.
of fish. I went out with the person who invented the aero latte.
Hello, welcome back. This is My Mate Bought a Toaster, and this is the show where I go through someone's Amazon purchase history because I'm nosy, but also because I want to tell their life story. My guest today is the fabulous comedian and podcaster Cally Beaton. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me. This is exciting. I feel like I'm about to pull my pants down. I'm not really, though.
Feel free to. That's fine. Anything goes on this show, Cally. It's absolutely fine. So why not? We're looking at your Amazon. Let's do a full body audit as well.
Exactly.
I mean, there is something vaguely investigative about this process.
It's not vague, is it? It's quite
it's explicitly
investigative.
So we're going to find out all about you. Now, before we start, you have handed me your tablet, right? So I'm looking at your Amazon account and I'm already sort of idly chatting to you while I scroll through it, which is weird in itself.
I can just see, though, the eye movement, depending what you're looking at there.
Oh, sweet Lord. Things like that are happening.
Yes.
But you have a fascinating story already with your Amazon account, don't you? It's fair to say there's quite a lot of spokes to this wheel. There's a lot going on here.
There's a lot of freeloaders on my account.
That's okay. I wasn't going to say that.
So the way they're not just random freeloaders, though. So I am a proud member of a very blended family. So my kids' dad and I separated when my kids were young. My kids are in their 20s now.
Right.
So we've had a 20-year run at making things very amicable.
Good.
And my kids' stepmom, who we knew from their primary school.
Right.
So there was no overlap. She was with this, but my kids' primary school teacher is my kids' stepmom.
Wow.
But nothing untoward happened.
Of course not.
At all.
No.
She's absolutely wonderful. So she's a good friend of mine. She is my kid's stepmom. Obviously, their dad remains their dad. My two kids don't live in London anymore. I live in London alongside the kid's dad and the kid's stepmom. We all live near each other.
Yeah.
They have a little child who is my kid's half-brother.
Right.
And then my two children, one lives in Spain and one lives in Devon. So all of those people across the blended family, so the six of us, all share this account.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, and they're all here today.
They're all here today. It's like the Waltons. That's a contemporary reference.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Google it, for God's sake, Google it.
All the others I could think of were like cults that aren't a good comparison.
Yeah. Jeremy Kyle. No.
Exactly.
Okay, fascinating. All right. Well, we'll just dive in, right? And as and when we get to things and you say, well, no, that's nothing to do with you, or that's not me, that's a member of the family, we don't need to talk about them. We'll just move on.
Yes.
Equally, if you want to really unload on someone, the chances are, maybe they're in Spain or whatever. They don't listen. Feel free to.
Well, mainly, as I said to you before we started recording, the one in Spain does work for Amazon Prime Video, and it's only just occurred to me, why am I paying the Amazon Prime?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. So there's already a bee in my bonnet.
Good. Well, let's really go in on that person. Look, I'm going to take you to the first thing, right, that I see bought here by you in July 2015. BioCult, Advanced Multi-Strain Formula, 120 capsules of BioCult.
You've gone straight for the gut.
I have gone straight for the gut. It's a gut shot.
It's a gut health thing.
But quite early doors for you to be doing this, because this gut thing has become super, and it's not a fad. There's loads. This is not a fad. There's facts here aplenty. But you're doing this in 2015. I
can tell you exactly why. So, as well as being a general gut health fad or not, lots of people take probiotics, which is what BioCult is, if they've had antibiotics. So that's often when you take it. But in this case, you also should take it on an intensive basis if you're about to travel somewhere where tummy things might be an issue.
So you're building up defences.
You're building it up, and that was the best. I got that when I went to a travel clinic years ago for my travel jabs. This amazing woman who was probably in her 70s, she'd been a travel vaccinator for like 40 years. She knew everything there was to know. Right. And she said, this is my top tip, and if people do that, you will not get all the tummy things. So
Can I say, some people are going to be minutes into this episode.
Isn't that amazing?
And they've already got a golden bit of life
That is
advice.
a great gift, isn't it?
And this is free of charge.
Free of charge.
All you got to do is listen to some adverts.
Listen to some adverts and then you've got this. And
That's
if you
so
don't now
good.
get a readout for Biocult to sponsor this episode, you're not the person I thought I was.
Come on.
You were. But yes, so basically that's what we did. So when my kids would have been, my little one would have been 15. I don't know what trip we would have been doing, but we did some quite adventurous travel in their teenage years.
Talk to me. Take me through the adventurous travel days.
We did what was then Swaziland and South Africa, but the sort of not the Cape Town fancy bit, the sort of camping in little tents and going around animal tracking. My son's a zookeeper.
Oh, wow. As a result of the travelling you did?
No, more we had to do a lot of travelling to accommodate his obsessive autistic interest in animals.
Really?
So we've been dragged around the world, albeit, I mean, that doesn't sound like a bad gig, does it?
No.
So we did that one. We went to Borneo, Indonesian Borneo, and sort of trekking through the forests, sort of charting the movements of orangutans, some of whom had been rehabilitated, some were had sort of always been out in nature. So we've done stuff like that. And
It's a very adventurous start to the show.
Very adventurous start to the show. And we have, and we've done them because obviously, well, you know, I'm not a multi-millionaire. We were doing those trips not on the cheap, but we were properly getting out there and getting our hands dirty. We weren't staying in 5-star resorts. And
Hence why you bought the old Bifidus Digestive before you went out there. And did it work? Or have you got a great story about crapping yourself in a tent?
None of us had the shits in any of those countries, I don't think.
Okay.
But I did, when I remember going to Turkey years ago, like 30 years ago with my kid's dad when we were obviously still together. And we got a bug we were in a little fishing village and we got whatever the tummy bug was that not only affected us as the incomers, everyone in the village got laid out with it. Like the locals were properly annihilated by it. And I've never been that ill. Wow. So when lovely vaccination nurse said, here's a hack, a life hack that will stop you getting ill, I was like, I'm in. So that's a really long way around the houses to pretend I don't have IBS, isn't it?
I have air miles and IBS.
Exactly.
Biocult Advanced Multi-Strain Formula. So do you still take that then?
Not really. I'll take it if I had lots of work. I had a wisdom tooth done earlier this year and I ended up on 3 different types of antibiotics in quick succession.
Because antibiotics strip out all your gut stuff, don't they?
And I luckily do now know, start taking the Biocult as soon as you're on the antibiotics, take it all. And then you've got some chance that the good is fighting the bad. It's like a sort of, you know, Wolverine movie and hopefully the right thing wins in there. So,
there's a Marvel adventure happening in your tummy.
There is.
It's really... also, I just think they need to rebrand away from the Biocult thing because if there is a fad and you feel a bit sort of like calling it a cult makes you think it's a bit closed shop.
It's not.
And that's because the word culture.
And there's usually cults are more likely to end in death than good digestive health.
Right.
So there's that as well. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, so flourishing bacteria.
Yes.
A flourishing sense of adventure going all around the world.
Yes.
So your son was into animals and you're like, Borneo. Well, I'd go the zoo.
Well, we did the zoo. So I live near London Zoo. So it started with him at a tiny age. We would go to London Zoo a lot because it was only sort of 20 minutes from where we live. Yeah. And then he always was like, I'm going to be a zookeeper, like loads of 2-year-olds are. And then he really quite obsessive. He started to know a lot about the animals and read like animal encyclopedias. This is pre-autism diagnosis, but I think probably one was emerging organically. And then it gradually got sort of morphed into obviously bigger and more ambitious things. And I still travel a lot with my son, seeing incredible, like he works on various conservation projects and we'll go to where we're just back from, Prague and vicinity, where there's this amazing rewilding going on of these, I always get the name wrong, I think they're called Swarovski horses. And I'd
have just said horses.
Yeah, they were horses, but they're a specific, I'm probably saying it wrong, but this amazing story of Prague Zoo having got into conservation of these particular horses back in the 50s when no one was conserving anything. And they've successfully, these horses went extinct in the wild in the, I think it was like the 60s or 70s. And this zoo has rewilded loads of them. But again, I went with my son to do that and we get all these amazing behind the scenes, things. And we weren't just in Prague, we were out in Pilsner and other places. So I do these things with my son now. He's a fully fledged adult zookeeper.
That's so good that he's like, come with me, Mum.
Yeah, he's like, come with me. Well, mainly because if anything needs paying for. He gets a lot of free stuff. but then there'll be the bit where he wants something paid for. But yeah, we did have quite adventurous times, and I did decide as a single mum, which I was virtually their whole upbringing.
Yeah.
It's really tempting to just go, oh, I can't really do that on my own with the kids, and I just thought, no, I really don't want me being single to stop them doing things that are adventurous.
That must give you an enormous sense of achievement.
Very smug, actually.
Yeah. Be a bit smug.
Very smug.
We need to be smugger about things like that. It's incredible.
I think when my daughter was doing ketamine in Amsterdam, I was like,
Well
that's
done.
because of me that she's got that adventurous travel spirit.
Really, really good.
By the way, that's not the daughter who works at Amazon Prime Video,
God.
in case they're listening.
Yeah, that's really, really made me think I'm never going to let my kid leave the house. Cool. All right, look, elsewhere in 2015, we have a little look around here. We can see computer games. We can see Feliway spray.
Oh, that's a sad story, though.
Oh, is it?
Because Feliway spray is catnip spray to make, and that the cats. Actually, one of the cats that would have been for still exists, but the absolute beloved Sid cat died at the age of nearly 20, not that long ago. So you've struck upon
Oh,
it.
no, I'm
It's
sorry.
all going to be animals, some of them dead.
Right, well, that
today.
happens to us. It's the circle of life, to quote Elton.
But we do still, I'm pathetic with, I've got a cat and a dog, and I'm pathetic with my animals, how much I love them.
Yes.
And I have a cheaper catnip spray. I must have still had my proper job back in 2015.
Oh, I see.
So now I go for not a proper brand like Feliway. But I do, when I see my cat sort of lying somewhere looking happy, I'll just get the spray and spray it around.
Yeah.
Like giving her a little joy.
So catnip is basically turning your house into a little opium den, isn't it, for the cat?
Yeah,
Do they
she
get all
loves
sort
it.
of mellow, or do they go a bit
Yeah.
springy and mad?
They can do both. Like I always give them a catnip cigar for Christmas.
Unbelievable.
And they go mad for the catnip. They go like skittish for a catnip cigar, and then they will rip it apart quite soon because they're so excited. They love it too
Wow.
much.
Wow.
They rip it apart with love. But the spray just seems to make them really chilled. And if you want them to go in a particular area,
Yeah.
so like if I want my cat to come into the bedroom at night because I want her on my bed, I'll just spray a bit around the bedroom, and then that's where she's going to come.
Nice. But you have a cat and a dog.
Yes.
That's good.
They
'cause
hate each other.
Of course.
Yeah.
But there is this weird division in the animal world. People going, cat
I
person.
love them
No, I love
both.
both.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I mean, I've got 2 dogs.
What have you got?
Well, I've got 2 poodle crosses.
Oh.
So one is a Saluki cross poodle and one is a St. Bernard cross poodle.
Wow, so very different. Mine's a scruffy sausage dog, wire-haired Dachshund. So
Gorgeous.
very different size and vibe of dogs.
Very different vibe, very
Yeah.
different size, but fundamentally still the same eating, shitting, attention-consuming
Yeah.
creature.
And just unconditional love-giving.
Love that.
Isn't
Big
it
fan of that.
amazing?
They're the sort of sentient version of a sort of hearth with a fire. You know, they're the thing that our family. I've got 2 boys, and we all just sort of gather around them.
How old are the boys?
They are 9 and 12.
Oh, did they help with dog walking?
Not really.
No, not so much.
I mean, maybe the 12-year-old will eventually if we pay him, but they
Yeah.
adore them.
It's
They're like
such
therapy
a-
dog. The eldest one's like a therapy dog. My eldest has got very full on ADHD. He's very
Yeah.
and he comes back from school tired and fractious and emotionally all locked in, and he just jumps onto this giant dog,
It's so sweet.
and she's like a sponge. She just absorbs it all. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. I also love I waited until mine had left home to get a dog because I knew they would not walk a dog, and I also had a sort of corporate job for most of their lives, so I don't know what I'd have done with a dog. Now I've got more flexibility, but I did end
Right.
up. I do love it that in the morning. I think partly why they cheer you up is if I come down with a bit of a cob on in the morning, like ugh, and then the dog sleeps downstairs because the cat and the dog don't get on. So I come downstairs and the dog's obviously really happy to see me. And then he's so excited by it being a day. He's
Yeah.
like, it's another day.
I can't
Have
believe
you
this."
seen the garden is there again? And I'm just like, he's so overjoyed that he's woken up again. And then I feel guilty if I'm moping about because I'm like, I don't want to dampen your
Of course.
enthusiasm. So
They are.
yeah.
They are
So
sort of.
sweet.
They're pack animals, aren't they? Dogs, right? Famously, that's the thing, and they're all about sort of you're the leader of the pack, and you know they follow you. But there are certain moments, exactly as you've described, where they're in charge. You don't realise, but they're saying to you, "This is where we're going." Enthusiasm and cool. And suddenly you're following them. You don't realise how much you follow them.
Well, I think any living creature that goes around shitting and expecting you to walk 6 feet behind with a bag is in charge.
So we've got catnip and R.I.P. Sid.
Yes.
When did Sid die?
A couple of years ago.
Oh
It was
my
really
God.
devastating.
And
Yeah.
also, even my dog Polly died at 15 and a half 3 years ago. And despite the fact that 15 and a half is amazing, she was a Labradoodle, I can't bear it.
Oh no, my dog Jeff must never die.
No.
I've said to him, I've got to go before he does.
Yeah, so that's going to be awkward when you're at the vets and they're like...
I know. I'll be like, do me first. Esther
Can you-
Ransom said I was allowed to now.
It's all fine, we've had the assisted dying bill.
Exactly.
Jeff's a great name for a dog as well.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So elsewhere then, we're sort of having a route around in your 2015 at the moment. Joe and Casper hit the road with limited edition numbered wristband. This is Joe Sugg.
That would have been my daughter then. 'Cause she was
Okay.
obsessed with YouTubers at the time.
Yes,
And that
of
would have been, she would have been 15. So at this point, I had a 15 and a 17-year-old.
Christ almighty.
Yeah.
You didn't need pets, did you?
No, I didn't. I mean, we did have the cats, and actually, yeah, but you can imagine with the zookeeper, we had geckos, we had God knows what in the house at the time.
Full Gerard Durrell stuff.
It really was.
So amazing that he's grown up in North London,
Yes.
but now he's a zookeeper.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because I grew up in Dorset and could not wait to get to London. I moved to London to go to Goldsmiths as soon as I could. And at 16, I'd left Dorset to go to Salisbury College.
Wow.
Went as close
Bye.
as I could. Yeah,
Layers.
And then up to London. So I've always just really sort of fought hard for my city life.
Yeah.
And my daughter...
Thrown it all away.
Exactly. My daughter loves city life. She's always lived in cities, not London since she's grown up, but cities. But my son could not wait to... And he works down in Devon, yeah. He lives in... He's got a very rural life and that's what he wants. So it's funny, isn't it? And and growing up. But there is actually a lot of amazing wildlife in London. So, I mean, not just London Zoo, but down in Barnes, the Wetlands Centre's amazing.
Yeah.
There are actually loads of lovely bits of London that are
Yeah.
quite good for nature.
Of course. And you can get a nice flat white.
Exactly.
I believe that's called literally having your cake.
Having your cake and eating
Eating
it.
it.
Although I would say on our primate chronicling expedition, so Jake and I have gone all around the world chronicling primates.
Sorry,
And
why isn't this a documentary?
Quite well,
Surely you're
exactly.
pitching for this to
He
be
has
done.
got a chapter in my book called Lessons from an Autistic Zookeeper.
Oh, wow.
A whole chapter.
Fantastic.
Which will cause a row because my daughter doesn't have a whole chapter.
Uh-oh.
She's got a sort of quick
Dedication?
she's got an afterthought at the end where I was
not
like,
the
oh God.
Listen,
Give
we
her
all
a
have a favourite.
Exactly.
Don't worry about it.
My favourite's the dog. But we would end up in these places, and because he's got all these inns at these zoos, they're not like fancy zoos with nice cafes and a cinnamon swirl.
Yeah.
Quite often they're more sort of shacks and amazing animals, but not so much by way of amenities. So I've
okay.
had to feign a lot of interest and a lot of pre-dawn rituals.
I see.
Without a flat white, which has been, that is mother love.
Oh, that really is.
Yeah.
That is unconditional.
Yeah. But I am still resentful. Yeah.
And now he's thrown away his London life
Exactly.
to go and live in the countryside.
Yeah.
So Joe and Casper hit the road, 7 days, 1,000 miles, one brain cell.
That would have been my daughter. I bet she'd be horrified if she thought that she'd bought that now.
Imagine.
Yeah.
The irony as well, the YouTubers releasing a DVD, that feels wrong somehow.
Yeah. I mean, that all feels so dated, doesn't it?
Yeah.
YouTubers still feel, I know there are still lots of YouTubers, but it feels a little dated. And DVD.
Someone says earplugs for parents should be free. This will give me some peace for a while until my daughter's stopped watching it. Then I'll be subjected to verbal diarrhea about how amazing it was and how she wants to marry Joe. Why did I buy this again? Oh, yes, it'll make my daughter very happy.
Well, there you are.
That is the best review of any product I've ever read.
That is a very good review, and I could have written that myself. To be
Wow.
honest.
Yeah, that's written by Cally.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Fine. Okay, good. All right. So that is Joe and Casper Hit the Road, one of my favourite movies. We're in 2015 still at the moment. So
that is the year I took up stand-up. So it's really funny that you've picked that year.
There you go.
Which
So-
was
so
when life changed.
you're doing a corporate job,
Yes.
and now you're a stand-up with podcast and tours. And what? I mean, how has this happened?
Well, I've told this story often, but
Give us the headlines.
The headline is that I worked in television. So I worked for I was on the board of ITV when I was quite young because I
Right.
sold a production company.
Right.
Then I ended up working for Viacom, who own Comedy Central, among others.
Uh-huh.
I would go to trade fairs and introduce events where we would have talent we would invite out.
Okay.
Joan Rivers and I worked together a few times, and I introed her a few times, and she was the one who said to me at 45, you should try stand-up. I said,
No,
it's
at
too
45.
late. I was 45. I said, it's too late, and she said, I'm 81. And then I started gigging.
At 45.
At 45, did my first ever gig, yeah.
How was that?
Well, the first one was diabolical. Most people say the first one was good, don't they? They say, "Oh, my friends and family were there, and I was good."
Because it's not a gig.
I was diabolical, and it was all only friends and family, and the ground was soft, and I was still bad. But yeah, I then picked it up all right, sort of fairly quickly. So yes, I started very late. So that would have been exactly the time when I still was working in a proper sort of massively demanding day job and doing comedy as a hustle.
Had you always sort of thought you might like to have a go?
I don't consciously remember that. I did go to Goldsmiths and I did drama, and I think I always thought I might act and then and present, and then I A, couldn't act, and B, was too insecure to present.
Yeah.
I was a sort of, ginger, overweight, sort of not a person, not at that point, not at all a person who would have done all right in what was a very sexist world. And as a woman wanting to do that, you had to look a certain way.
Yes.
I then had a bit of a kind of glow up, as my daughter would describe it, and also became more confident in the intervening years. But I couldn't have done it till I was in my 40s.
What was the confidence? Just time passing?
Just time passing. I was not a confident speaker. I think, I don't know what it was. This is what my I'm not trying to plug my book. My book is it's exactly about that, is about how actually we sort of think of age as a compromise.
Yeah.
And particularly women are supposed to get invisible in their 50s traditionally.
Yeah.
And I have only come into my own in my 50s. That's when I gave up the day job. That's when I got live at the Apollo. Yeah. That's when I got a book deal. That's when everything started to happen for me, has been in my 50s, because I didn't, even though I had a successful career off camera, I don't think I'd really found myself. So so I couldn't have done it. I take my hat off to younger comics who do it.
Do you have that thing of looking back on the years where you weren't doing it and feeling a sort of grief that you didn't have the confidence? Are you annoyed at things that you let go, or are you quite at peace with that side of things?
Well, I guess the thing that I and this is kind of apt because we're recording this in the aftermath of the whole kind of Greg Wallace thing, and I suspect that aftermath will run and run. And what I am part of is a generation of women who have normalised things that aren't normal, and we were brought up not to articulate things. Particularly women were brought up like that. I was born in the 60s, and we really were brought up to be people pleasers.
Yes.
And marry well. And I mean, I never did marry, and certainly if I had, not well. But much as we all get on, but I've never, so I do regret. I think I always was a bit of a misfit in my corporate world, insofar as I would speak out and try and do the right thing, which doesn't always make you popular. So I'm glad I was true to myself. But yeah, I didn't really find my voice. And now...
God, it must be strange to feel like such a different person.
Yeah,
and yet the same life.
But I also think if I'd found my voice younger, I wouldn't have paid off my mortgage, because comedy doesn't pay as well as what I was doing. No. So I do still feel like the same person, but I don't know. I think different people find their way at different times. And
but
this is my moment.
45 to start stand up is late. Like people always say, Ricky Gervais famously did a whole thing about you're not funny till you're 30 or whatever.
Yeah,
fine, whatever.
Little baby at 30.
You're nothing at 30, exactly. But 45 is you are, I mean, brilliant.
How old are you, may I ask? Well,
44.
Yeah, okay.
And but the age thing creeps up on you. Everything you say about age is such a cliche, isn't it? But it is only a narrative you tell yourself. I think that's such an important part of it, that if you fall for it, getting to a certain age, and I completely concede it's nowhere near as bad for a white middle-class man in this situation, but still,
luckily it's getting worse though.
yeah it is, thank God.
By the day.
But as it creeps up on you, the number becomes significant out of nowhere. But it's only you that's made the number significant.
It is hard not to, the idea of, finitude, and the fact that we have only got so many summers left. And so but I think that can be a really positive thing. Like I've got a whole chapter in the book about saying no, because you just need to say no to things you don't want to do anymore, assuming you can afford to say no to them. I don't necessarily just mean financial things, because if you're saying yes to things, you are thereby in a default no for something else you might want to do.
Yes, you're saying no without even realising.
Exactly. So I sort of think mindfully, and also sometimes some of the things I've said no to have led me into things that just couldn't have happened otherwise. So I think it's more... I don't know how sweary this podcast is.
Oh, fucking great. Get stuck in, yeah.
Because I think it's about having only so many fucks left to give is what it's actually about.
Only so many weeks left to live.
Only so many weeks left to live. And, I might have, say, 30 summers left what am I going to be doing in those summers? You know, probably chronicling primates without a flat white. But I do. So I
editing your podcast.
Exactly, for a whole summer. But I do think that the key bit is people talk about reinventing when they get older, and that's been talked about forever.
Yeah.
But it used to be implicitly downsizing. So I will get out of the city and I'll go and run a lavender harvesting thing in Bordeaux, and which is lovely, brilliant. Yeah. But I just think I think you can keep going bigger and keep reinventing. So I have not done my last reinvention. I don't see why I would have done. So you know, it's not like, oh, well done doing it at 45. It's like, well, what will I do at 65?
Yeah, of course. It just keeps on going. That's the amazing thing.
You're just a little baby at 44.
I love it. Please tell me that again. That's great. I need to hear that. Okay, good. All right, fine. I'm getting therapy and we're finding out all sorts.
And we've had the IBS hack.
And we've had the IBS hack. So far, 10 out of 10.
It's a banger.
So far, it's an absolute banger. Yeah. No editing required.
There you go.
All right, let's move on. We're going to go to another year now. We're going to go into 2016 now, Cally, and all sorts of purchases in that year. I mean, there's men's thermal socks, hot hands foot warmer.
This would have been to go to Iceland, so or maybe Lapland.
Oh wow!
We've done Lapland and Iceland.
Wow,
yeah.
Which is the better land, Ice or Lap?
Well, we've done Finnish Lapland, Swedish Lapland, and Iceland. I've been to Iceland twice.
Have you?
Yeah.
Iceland's great.
It is really great.
God, you love your travel, don't you?
I really do actually love my travel. I don't realise how much I love my travel until I've realised, like, the last 3 months I have barely had a week at home. I do love my travel.
So where have you been in the last? Take us through.
Well, not as glamorous, the last ones. So I go visit my daughter in Madrid a lot. So she lives in Madrid.
Yeah.
We have a family home in Amsterdam, so go over to Amsterdam a lot. My kids are half Dutch.
Okay, great.
So go over there a lot. I did a Prague trip with my son, as I said. Went sort of Prague and vicinity.
Yeah.
I went to Cornwall. I went to Dublin for work.
Right.
So
I'm exhausted.
I think that's the main ones. There's possibly a couple I've forgotten.
Do you get tired doing it, or do you just love it all?
Do you know, I have this real thing about, but I don't think this makes me at all unusual. Because when I had my corporate job, I worked for MTV back in the early 90s. I worked for the New York MTV, but I was based here. I was an outcrop. They were starting a new business over here. So I used to go once a month to Madrid, to New York. So you can see I'm really not at all confused. I used to go over there once a month. So I travelled a lot, and then I would also travel all around, mainly Europe, setting up the business with them. So from really young, I travelled tons.
Yeah.
And I always did, right through having the kids. I always travelled a lot, and they came with me a lot, which is partly why they love travel. Especially my son, when it was just him, he would come everywhere as a baby with me, because they didn't have much by way of maternity leave back in the mid-90s at MTV. And
sure.
Yeah. So I've travelled a lot of my life, and the bit I hate is packing. I absolutely cannot stand the packing or the unpacking, the transitions. I hate, but I love the travel.
So you don't get stressed? You don't get stressed by the trains?
I love the travel. As soon as I'm on the vehicle or the thing, because that means I've packed. So the minute I can't do anything about it but surrender, because I'm like, well, I've got my passport, I've got my bag, there's nothing I can do now. Surrendering to the limit, it's the liminal thing, isn't it? So whenever you're travelling, you're betwixt and between.
And that's a nice place to be.
So liberating.
Yes.
Because you're not the person you were at home.
Oh my God.
You haven't had to be the person you're going to be when you land. And maybe that's partly been a single mum for a long time, that was, if I had an 8-hour flight, just me and a book and a film, that's as good as it got. You
don't need to make any choices.
No choices.
That's the thing. The thing I find stressful about packing and
decisions.
But also you're having to wrangle your belongings. You're having to open your brain up to all of the things, all the manifestations, all the different things that might happen.
Yeah.
And you're literally having to put those physical objects into a box.
I know.
It's
I've got a packing
torture.
hack. Do you want a packing hack?
There's nothing but hacks. This is great.
There's nothing but hacks.
Go on.
Set a timer for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And that is your time to pack. You've got nothing more than that. What you haven't packed in 30 minutes, you're not taking.
Wow.
And you can, because you literally just make yourself focused, and
that's great.
That's it. Just
30
only,
minutes.
Only let it take 30 minutes.
Get it all packed.
Get it all packed. Don't try and half pack, half not. Doesn't mean beforehand if you're remembering things, you couldn't be putting them on a chair. I'll take
Starting
that
off with that, yeah.
But you've got to do your focused pack. That's it. And you can pack in 30 minutes.
What about, could you pay someone to come and do it for you?
I bet you can, can't you? Do you think Gwyneth Paltrow's packing her own bags going to all her different homes?
No way.
No.
I want a professional packer. If that exists as an occupation.
Well, that will exist.
That would be incredible.
Or you could just have someone who helps you buy cheap shit when you get there and you haven't got. Because I quite often don't have what I need. I'm not the best packer.
I went to one of my favourite interactions on a holiday was at Bude's branch of Fat Face.
Oh, nice.
Buying pants.
Classic.
Because I'd forgotten my own pants.
And I bet they had them in earth tones and all you wanted was,
exactly.
was a gentle stripe.
And I said to the guy behind the counter, I can't believe I've forgot my pants on holiday. And he went, it happens every week.
Also, what a good place to forget your pants.
Oh, it'd be Bude, exactly.
Yeah, fun.
Go nude and Bude, right?
Yeah.
And
you want your pants in Soho.
He literally went, every single week.
Yeah.
Someone comes in and they forgot. It's usually a man and they've forgotten their pants.
Yeah.
I felt very seen.
I forget lots of things. I really do, yeah.
Yeah.
Which means my hack isn't great, is it? Because I'm going, do it in 30 minutes.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Buy everything. Buy everything on arrival.
It's a terrible hack. Don't do that hack, guys, because I'll start blaming the show.
Exactly.
All right, look, elsewhere in 2016, the Body Clock Starter 30 wake-up alarm clock with sunrise and sunset features. That's nice.
I hated that. So I had a boyfriend at the time who swore by that. So it wakes you up. I don't know if they're big anymore. They were. So it's an alarm clock that comes on gradually and it doesn't make a noise. It just brings you up to daylight naturally.
Yes.
Which is a lovely thing for your circadian
And does
rhythms.
it go...
Exactly.
That's what I'd want.
But I hated it so much I gave it to my parents.
Really?
Yeah.
What, to the older generation who all wake up at 5 o'clock anyway?
Exactly. But they could watch it in bed as they did the crossword at 5 in the morning. They could watch the clock.
Let's watch the clock come up together.
Yeah.
So romantic.
So I gave that to them. And they actually do live in beautiful rural Dorset with a view of an actual sunset.
Wow.
But they've got my sunset clock. They probably re-gifted it onto someone long ago.
Yes, that's 5 or 6 owners down the line. Someone somewhere is sitting, come on, let's gather around and watch the sunset together on the clock. Okay, good. All right, so a clock that you didn't like. Elsewhere, there's a great mix here. There's so much stuff that's sort of domestic, then there's travel-y stuff.
Luckily, nothing rude because I share it with everyone. Because you must have people who do this where they're a bit like, oh, don't mention that one.
Yeah, well, yeah. You'd be surprised.
We can't do rude as a blended family.
Well, but when you... No,
it's not.
That would be next level.
No one wants to know that.
God, the therapy.
Yeah.
When we get rude stuff, like you know, lube or a butt plug, people talk about it. It's stuff which is, that's with an X and I'd rather you didn't bring it up. That's when people say, no, don't talk about that.
Interesting.
So it could be something as harmless as a key ring or whatever. And they'll go, that was a story where...
Oh, so people are fine with a butt plug, but not something that's
genuinely
emotionally painful.
That's correct.
Interesting.
I'm not saying that's put any sort of butt plug pressure on you at all, but tends to be how it works.
You won't find one on the shared blended family account. Or if you do, it's not mine. So...
Can you imagine? The dangers of having a shared blended family.
We've obviously all got many other accounts where we do our actual shopping.
Wow, so funny. Okay, good. So, like I say, a great mix of very sort of domestic things, and then there's things like some lovely pillowcases, a single fitted sheet.
That would have been when they roll off to uni. So as soon as it's a single sheet, that's got to be someone going to uni.
How was that when the nest emptied?
What year was that? Was that
2016?
That's my son. My son at 18, 19 going to uni. So,
right.
Yeah, he went off to an animal college.
Right, of
which
course.
was like Hogwarts with animals. It was amazing. And we'd have been getting all the stuff for him going off there.
How was the empty nest especially as a single mum?
Well, that one
hence
I remember.
The dog.
Yeah, well, the dog didn't come yet because he's my oldest. So
right, his daughter was yes.
But
okay.
he went off. It was actually really quite because having a kid with special needs is quite full on.
Yeah.
It was a big shift, and I remember I drove away, having dropped him in this it really was like Hogwarts with animals, in this amazing room, and he had a view of like animals and an airfield. And then I just sat in the car as soon as I was out of sight on this long drive from this sort of stately home-looking place and just wept.
Oh my God!
And then all these sheep came and just sat in front of the car. So then I had to sit. I had to have a contemplative moment that went on for about an hour and 10 minutes. I was like, I'd really like the sheep to go. No, I've wallowed. Now I'd like to go and have a drink with a friend. But I had to contemplate my new status with the sheep.
Do you think near all universities there is a special parental crying lay-by?
Yeah, not always with sheep, though.
Not always with sheep.
I think...
but I think I just have this image, and my kids are still quite young, but it's coming.
You're going to have the crying labour.
The crying labour where you just pull over and go, oh my God.
I've had a lot of crying. My daughter, when she went to... My son was just not far outside London, so he used to come home really often.
Good.
My daughter at 18 went to study in Amsterdam, and even though she's half Dutch, we didn't think it was a big deal because we know Amsterdam so well. But actually having an 18-year-old in another country, and then, of course, there was lockdown a year after that.
Oh, wow.
So then I couldn't see her for 9 months of that. I missed her it must have been 2 years after that. I missed her 21st because we were all locked down. And so my daughter's always lived abroad since she was 18. She's 24 now.
Because you made them well-travelled. It's your fault. If you had just taken them every now and again to the shopping centre, let's go to Westfield.
Centre Parks.
Right.
What's wrong with Centre Parks?
Nothing.
Well, the price.
It's everything.
Yeah.
You go to Borneo, these kids are going to be like, you're giving them wings. You're being an amazing parent.
They're very confident in their travelling. And I probably will end up with grandchildren that don't speak English.
Yeah. The dream.
Exactly.
The dream, because then you can't look after them.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'll be the only blue passport holder in the entire family.
God. All right. Elsewhere then, we have got, you can see this in September 2016.
Yeah.
That he's off to uni. Lots of stuff for that. Pillows and gosh, loads.
You've got this all to come. You will get to know IKEA. I know IKEA in many countries now because every country she ends up in, we have to go, and quite often she'll want the same thing. She'll be like, oh, but I loved that thing in Amsterdam. So I go and buy the same piece of shit makeup trolley that she's already had in other places because we can't obviously... It's more expensive to ship stuff.
Yeah, of course, just buy it new.
I'm really good on the sort of exit, how to say exit in lots of languages. Uitgang in Dutch, salida in Spanish. Yeah, exit in Brent Cross.
Yeah, in Brent Cross. Yeah. Skin cuticles prevent CE ferulic, 30 millilitres, August 2016. Skin cuticles. High potency triple antioxidant treatment.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there's one thing you could judge me for on my Amazon...
Yeah, go on, let me judge you.
It would be the amount I spend on face products. I am obsessed with skin care.
The face is in good nick, Cally.
Is it? Thank you.
It's in very good nick.
Is it? Because I'm 85. I look good, don't I?
It's extraordinary, Nick, then.
And I love, I mean, I was into retinol before anyone was into retinol.
What's retinol?
Oh,
you can tell I'm not into any of this stuff.
You need to be.
I know I do. Look at me.
No offence.
No, I'm taken.
Retinol is it's the thing you can put on at night. It regenerates the skin. Basically, it's quite. Some people find it quite aggravating.
It bans.
It doesn't. I can take. My skin can take any amount of all these things. Yeah. I have about a 7-step. When people say to me, they say it less now because I am older and I probably look older. But when I first used to do stand up, I'd be in like my late 40s, early 50s. And when acts would hear me talk about it on stage afterwards, they go, "Oh my God, what can I get your skincare regime?" Yeah. And then I would. In fact, now I think of it, no one's asked me that for years, but they used to. And I would say sure, and they'd be like, and then I would give them like 7 steps. I do spend a lot on skincare. I don't spend a lot on makeup or clothes, but I love my skincare. Retinol's a big one. That ferulic acid was a big one at the time, and I think it's got vitamin C in it. Everybody was buying it at the time. I think now it's very 2016.
Ironically, the stress of this has given me wrinkles.
It will do.
Okay,
but I know the product to help you with those wrinkles.
Okay, I feel like you've said you've got 7 steps, now you've just given us 2.
Well, I do. So my night cream. Do you want to know my night?
Yeah, hit us with it. Yeah.
So I do an eye serum, and then I do another retinol eye serum. So 2 different eye serums. Yeah. I do a retinol face cream. I do a serum for my neck. And I do an anti-wrinkle thing for my brow.
You must start getting ready for bed at 5 p.m.
And then I do night cream on my face.
Wow.
And the difference is when you get to this stage in life as a single gal about town, it's not that you don't have liaisons and excitement and do all the things a younger person would do, but I won't do any of those things until I've taken my makeup off properly and cleansed my face. Then it'll be...
So if there's any passion in the offing...
Class A, sex, but not till I've done my face.
God, That was really awkward at the orgy. Everyone wait.
Exactly.
Wait, I've just got to go and exfoliate.
Campus grass and retinol.
Okay, great. So we've had your 7 steps.
Yeah.
Your 7
7 deadly steps.
pre-nighttime activity steps from Cally Beaton on My Mate Bought a Toaster. It's so good that this is life hacks.
Yeah.
It's life experience.
Do you know the best thing I was told, and this is my life advice, at the end of my book, I give one of my bits of life advice is moisturise your neck.
Yeah.
It's the bit of your...
the wattle.
The wattle doesn't self-moisturise. Your face does have oils.
Yeah.
I was told when I was in my 20s, working for MTV, I went into Barney's to get a free makeover, like they did free makeup advice, only because I wanted my makeup to look nice for the MTV Awards. So I didn't really want any of the makeup. And then the person doing it said, how old are you? And I was whatever age I was, 26 maybe. And they said, start moisturising your neck now.
Oh, my God.
Because your neck is the bit that will age you. And I definitely, you can't avoid your neck. It's the thing that gives my age away the most. But I promise you it could be a lot worse.
Wow.
So by your 40s, your neck will be wattling. Moisturise your neck.
Neck wattle. We sort of started this...
Yeah.
You know, a few minutes ago we were talking about how time is finitude. Time is malleable. Don't worry about it. Just be in the moment. Change your life.
But
and now
don't
you're
let
saying
yourself have a horrible, ugly neck.
And now you're saying you're getting old. You look awful.
I just feel like it's a quick win. Just
it is.
And actually, it should be neck to nipple. You're meant to do all the way down this bit.
Okay.
So neck to nipple.
Neck to nipple.
Yeah.
All right. Hello and welcome
to. You want a title for this episode?
Neck to nipple on QVC with Cally Beaton.
That is a good title for a podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Neck to nipple.
Yeah. Yeah, I think neck to nipple is very good.
Yeah.
You should do a podcast where it's just young people who listen and you just tell them, you just wag your finger at them.
Yeah, how bad things are going to get.
Well, not so much that. Just tell them what to do.
Yeah.
First, to avoid the bad stuff.
Yeah.
It's just you talking about moisturising,
I think we need to tell the age group to do more bad stuff, actually.
Yeah, enjoy yourself, for God's sake.
Stop crocheting and go and do some... Go and get pissed.
Cush ball, assorted colours.
What is
July 2016. I think it's a
Cush ball?
Yeah, it's like a dog toy, maybe.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, okay,
or it could be one of the blended acquisitions.
One of the
because by then their little brother was... So at this point, my kids had a baby brother. So he was born in 2014.
Right, okay.
So there was a toddler around the mix at this point.
Okay, toddlers, dogs, everything here.
Yeah.
All right then. We're looking in 2017 now. And we have got we've got some more cat spray. There's more catnip.
Yeah, there'll be consistencies there.
Yeah, bionic eye cream. We're seeing consistencies now. These are the
the
threads.
Themes will carry on right through.
Yeah. It's good. It's repeat points. You know, it's like they become characters in the show.
But I do choose. I mean, you will notice that the basically the skin products have got cheaper as I gave up the day job and became a comedian. So
yes, you powered down the self-care.
I did a bit. I mean, I still do it, but it's cheaper. Yeah.
Lidl Youth Secret Eye Cream. Yeah,
yes,
nice,
exactly.
Love it.
Yeah, Tesco 4 for 2, 2 for 4.
Yeah, there's loads. Silent Night Comfort Control Electric Blankets.
I don't think that's going to be me because I've got a memory foam and you can't have an electric blanket on a memory foam. The fact I know that is aging, but there you have it.
Aero Latte Milk Frother with storage tube.
Yeah. I went out with the person who invented the Aero Latte Milk Frother. And
can we just have a moment?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Can you just say that again?
Yeah, I did. Well, I say went out with. It was quite brief.
I see.
But I did get to know him.
Right.
But I do remember, was his I think there might be. I think this is the way round. I think the original one isn't the Aero Latte. I think he invented the original one.
Oh, no.
But the Aero Latte is more successful. When he whipped out his frother, I said...
Literally? Did he take it on first dates with him?
Yeah, he was like... no, it fell out of his bag and he's like, oh, I don't know why this fell out. No, but when he told me that he'd invented it, I said, oh, but that one's shit, isn't it? I've got the Aero Latte. And that, oh, my God.
That's the end of that.
It's like I told him that his baby was ugly. It was really bad. So I've got a feeling he was the original, which is not the Aero Latte.
Wow.
But this was before you could get all those nobody had Nespresso machines, nobody had the milk frothers.
No.
So having one that you actually just stuck in a jug of milk and frothed.
Yeah, so exciting.
We were quite ahead of the times with that.
Yes, he was even more ahead of the times.
He was so ahead of the times it flopped.
So you had a liaison with him?
Yes, I mean more than once.
Right,
But
okay.
no, I wouldn't say it. You know, he didn't become my children's father figure.
No, right, okay, fine,
Yeah.
fine. Wow. The man who invented the frother.
the precursor. Yeah, the original frother.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
There might be like 50 people listening going, no, it was me.
Yeah,
Loads of
I
people
got there
like,
first.
Yeah, they might all be
one of those things
claiming
everyone
it.
claims.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, frothy milk and a liaison with the frothy milkman. That's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah. A frothy milkman's different though, isn't it?
Frothy milkman is slightly, that's
Yeah.
still slightly wrong.
Yeah.
And then look, we can see you're doing stand-up, Dingbat's Wildlife Medium Notebook, or maybe it's for your son.
That would have been, probably
February
for my son.
2017. We've got a heavy duty clipboard, a nice clipboard.
Yeah, that could have been for the kids'
For the boy.
stepmom, maybe teacher.
Mm-hmm.
She
Okay.
probably needs a clipboard.
Fine.
I don't think I did.
Okay. All right. Elsewhere, looking through your purchase history, you've bought a travel kettle.
Oh, do you know why I bought a travel kettle? Because when I had all my fancy jobs, and I used to obviously at that point be travelling in the front of planes. Now I'm more on your megabus.
I see.
But back in the front of planes days, and I'd get put in these like amazing hotels, obviously on someone else's dollar.
Yeah.
And they'd never have a blooming kettle in a Four Seasons because you're meant to cool down to get your tea. And obviously you're charged whatever.
A kettle is a free drink, isn't it?
And also, even though I wasn't paying the bills, I don't want someone to turn up with a silver tray and a posh. I just want a kettle. So I would take a travel kettle with me because I just want to be able to make a cup of tea.
That is, you think things through.
Don't
Did you pack that in the 30-minute window you gave yourself?
Well, that would have. So I always, as I hope you do, and we all do,
always, yeah.
have an area, have the things that are your travel things. So you've got your passport, your
mini
adapters,
shampoos,
travel kettle. Have a little area. So that's all. That only takes 2 minutes of the 30 because it's all there.
You just know that's going to be there.
That's going in.
I find when I stay in a hotel and I get like maybe breakfast in bed, I just don't do it because I find the awkwardness of someone coming.
Room service.
The awkwardness of room service.
Yeah.
And like the tipping to an extent. A British person, we just hate tipping. We just don't know. But I was on a work cruise, believe it or not.
I've so tried to avoid those.
And they were like, it's all covered on the bill. Just get breakfast brought in. So I was like, fine, we've got an early shoot tomorrow morning. I'll get breakfast at like 6 a.m. And this guy comes in, he's really nice, massive tray. All the food I've asked for is there. And so excruciating.
Well, also, I would feel I had to get ready before I could have it in bed.
Yes, because I was basically in pants and I was like, oh.
I know. And imagine me trying to do my face cream routine. There's a lot to cope. It's very busy in the mornings for me.
Serum!
Exactly.
She's up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Travel water immersion heater, a camping mini boiler.
That's because the kettle doesn't work in the States because of different voltage.
Wow, you have gone to town on this.
So then you need a thing that you can put into something there. Yeah.
Cally Beaton likes hot water.
I really like a cup of tea.
Yeah.
My ideal night out now would be in a bar that serves tea.
Why don't they exist?
They do in the Netherlands.
Why isn't that more of a thing here? Why are we so obsessed with meeting up and having beers?
I will take a flask with me to a gig.
Yes.
That looks like a cool water bottle, but it's a flask. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, look, elsewhere, just rooting through 2017 and you've got a lovely Brabantia Salt and Go food waste caddy. Lovely little food bin.
Is it blue?
Yeah.
I've still got that. I
6
love
litre.
that. Looks really nice, actually, because some people have those ones that they give you from the council.
The brown ones.
I don't want that in my house. No. I have it outside my house.
Sure.
But the blue one's in the house.
The blue one's very nice.
I love the blue one.
All right,
day.
That's 2017. Right, let's skip on ahead. We're going to go on ahead now to 2018 now, and see what is going on with you over that year. Again, loads of purchases. I'm going to go right back to the beginning of 2018. A single size air mattress.
That will have been probably just as a spare bed when the kids were at the stage where they were still having people staying and stuff. Yeah, that would have been to.
Did your kids have people over a lot?
Yeah, have people over. They would have wanted their like teenage mates staying.
God, how was that, having the teenagers over?
I loved that bit.
Really? Oh, you're such a cool mum.
They're really just they're just not. They're actually humans by then.
Oh, are they cooked by then?
They become humans.
Oh, that's nice. That's good to know.
And they actually will have human conversations. And because they're not your teenagers, they're helpful. They'll actually go, "Can I help you?"
They're nice to you.
They'd be like, "Can I help you, Ella's mum?" They always call you Ella's mum. I mean, they won't call you that because you haven't got Ella.
No.
But they'll always call you even the kids in our area that went to my kids' primary school, because my kids went to the local schools.
Yeah.
I'll usually know if there's like a dealer or a dodgy person. They usually went to school with one of my kids, and they'll still say, "Hi, Ella's mum."
Wow.
Hi, they have nice manners.
That's so good to
Nice
know.
drug dealers.
You must feel very safe. Do they give you a discount?
I do. Yeah, they do. And I do feel safe. Like, I'll see all these nefarious characters and I'm like, oh, I remember when we went on a school trip to the British Museum.
That's already started with me a bit, but they're only like 12, 13. But every now and again I'll see one. I'm like, all right, Leon, how's it going?
They're so sweet. Yeah, they're such sweet little thugs. So it would have been a thug bed.
Adorable beds for thugs.
Yes.
Okay, fine. But good to have the house where people come to your house, isn't it? That's
I'm very near the schools, and all of the schools that they all went to, which, well, it's only all of them, 3 different schools, I think, in total, across the primary and secondary. We were very near all of them.
Right.
So we were a bit of a meeting hub.
I see, geographically in the right spot.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Elsewhere then in 2018, Cally Beaton, as we romp through your Amazon purchase history, loads more cosmetics here.
Yeah,
definitely a big part of it. We have got the Low FODMAP recipe book, Relieve Symptoms of IBS. Crohn's disease.
Yeah, that's not a me.
Not for you. Okay, fine, we'll move on.
Sorry.
No.
Family.
Yes.
For revealing your FODMAP.
Here we go. End of January 2018, the Snore Calm Elite Foam earplugs.
Now, if you said to me, what are the 5 things you couldn't live without? They'd be in the 5.
2 of them are the earplugs.
Yeah, 2 of them. Ahead of maybe not ahead of the face cream, ahead of the travel kettle.
Okay, so every night you have to have them in?
No, I don't anymore. I used to really need earplugs. If I have a boyfriend who snores, always need earplugs.
It's the worst
sound
in the world.
And most men do snore, in my experience.
Yeah.
And these particular ones, they will drown out. That it's not just getting any earplugs. You've got to find the ones that have the high octane capacity, and there's a
high decibel number on here.
Yeah. And they'll drown out a jumbo jet taking off, and they really will, to the point that I could be burgled, pillaged, the dog stolen, and the.
Well, doesn't that worry you then?
No.
Don't you feel like you need to be on alert?
No, because I would sleep through it.
You're very chilled.
I do. I really do. I wish I'd had them in this morning at 6 o'clock when I had a delivery that I hadn't asked for. But yes,
something at 6 o'clock.
I know. I don't know what it was, and actually, it was 2 lovely presents from different friends.
Right.
I felt really.
Thanks, pals.
I was like so ratty. I didn't even look at them for 3 hours until I'd woken up.
Well, obviously, you had to do your face.
Exactly.
That's the 3 hours. You're very busy.
I was busy in the bathroom already doing my face at 6. But yeah, they're really good. I'm a big fan of it, and now I did actually used to rely on them a lot. I need them less now. Maybe I'm going deaf. But I do. An earplug is in a hotel. It just means you never need worry.
You never sleep well on that first night in a hotel.
No, I do.
But what would happen if you didn't have them? Would you just lie there? Would you fret?
I've had that before. I had it somewhere not long ago. I was on tour and I ended up in a hotel on a roundabout. Someone booked me a hotel on a roundabout.
Oh God!
It was a horrible hotel,
God.
It was just so noisy. And I was like, I'll just get and I didn't have any earplugs. Yeah.
You didn't. You had the travel kettle, so you could make tea.
Travel kettle, but the 30-minute window, I'd forgotten the.
So did you just lie there?
Yeah, I didn't sleep.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
I didn't sleep, so I like having them, and I use them. I use them probably not that often now, but I do. But having them, very important.
Good to know they're there.
Yeah.
Also good for gigs, for music gigs.
Yes. Well, I did date someone who plays in My Bloody Valentine, and you may know they are not a quiet so earplug. Maybe that's when I got into earplug. That would have actually been around then that I was dating her. Yeah, maybe it was to do with my girlfriend.
Unbelievable. Milk frothers.
Yeah,
you've dated
bassists,
musicians.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. You date innovative people.
I do, not for long.
That's fine.
But I like to know that some of that magic has passed off on me.
Okay. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
You're a sort of hit and run dater.
Definitely.
Okay,
yeah.
Without hitting. That's obviously a metaphor.
No,
okay.
No.
Walk away from that analogy, Tom. Just walk away from it.
Reverse.
Spent half my life. Beep,
reverse.
beep, beep. Okay. Look, we're still romping through 2018, Cally. And we have got... there it is. Retinoids. Hello,
yeah,
you.
You'll get loads of those.
Digital radio. love a digital radio?
I love a digital. I still do like a physical radio, even though I obviously listen on my phone like a modern person.
Of course you
I do actually like to have radios around the place. I have radios around and about.
Do you always have the sound on then in the house? Is it a noisy house?
No, I like being quite quiet.
Okay.
Yeah, I like being quite quiet. I like a podcast. I like the spoken word.
Yes.
And I will listen to music sometimes as well. But I quite like peace.
So your podcast is called Namaste Motherfucker, but you do see, you're very Namaste. You are very Zen. Has this always been what you're like, or am I just seeing a version of you?
No, I can be and I cannot be. I mean, I'm riddled with, they say comedians are egomaniacs with an inferiority complex, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that about me, for God's sake. And I'd rather we talked about me, to be honest. Yes, of course.
We're all multi-sided, aren't we? So yeah, I've definitely got more relaxed as I've got older.
Okay.
Yeah,
What makes you blow up? What's the thing where the temper comes out?
It's like little. The obvious one again, not original, but today coming in to do this, bloody person in the carriage listening to stuff without headphones.
Yeah, that's reasonable. You should be angry at that.
Really angry.
Yes.
And I actually decided, instead of working in a soup kitchen this year for charity, I'm going to buy loads of ear bloody, whatever they're called, headphones, and I'm just going to give them out for free on public transport to anyone doing that.
Try these, it's amazing.
As a gift, a charitable act to everyone else in the world. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Are you the sort of person who would say something?
I nearly did today.
What would you do? Take me through it. How would you say?
Well, I was going to say, because he was literally one away from me and everyone in the carriage was looking.
So there's a guy on the train.
Loud videos.
Loud videos?
Yeah. Loud, and not even good ones. I mean, they weren't good.
Oh,
they
my
weren't
God.
funny. I could have said, if you want some funny content, look at Cally Beaton, comedian.
Follow me on Instagram.
But everybody was getting really irritated. It was a load of harumphing middle-class people, apart from... And this guy actually was a middle-class person. I don't know about middle-class, middle-aged. We were all middle-aged. And I just felt like saying, just as I was about to get to this stop,
you're a dick, and then run off.
I just wanted to say, can I ask what is going through your head?
Oh, yes.
That's what I wanted to say was, what are you a headphone atheist? Is it a conscious decision? Are you aware that if everybody did this, it would be a cacophony and it wouldn't be possible? So you have to be the only person doing it.
Yeah.
Or we can't all do it.
I'm just really interested to know,
I wanted to know
what's going on.
Yeah. Did you lose your headphones? Do you think you've got your headphones in?
Were your parents killed by headphones?
Yeah.
What's going on?
I do want to say, especially because I think he looked like he should know better. But yeah, so I would like to just... But then I thought that is so... middle-class woman passive-aggressive meme.
Yeah, I would
excuse me, can I just ask you, you do know you haven't got your headphones
I just think if it's done in the right way, because I genuinely want to know. And
I would like to, it would be good content. One thing I would happily do if I decide to give out free headphones is to film my exchanges while I give them out and to ask the question. That I would watch on TikTok.
Brilliant. And you wouldn't have to see them. You just see you. You video yourself.
And hear what they're saying.
Would you like to have this?
Yeah, and hear and me first of all say, and then them probably get antsy and me go, no, I'm trying to be nice. Would you like these headphones?
Yeah.
And see
what
they
say.
say.
If you do it, get security, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Because famously, people who don't listen to...
I don't think people punch women as much, but I might be wrong.
Oh, God.
In sort of altercations.
Yes, yeah. All right, look, we're going to have to skip on ahead because we're starting to run out of time, Cally, which is what always happens. But, I feel
the themes are going to stay the same for the next 7 years.
We're seeing...
It's going to be animals and...
Face.
And maybe a bit of gut.
Bit of gut, bit of sound.
Travel. That's it.
And do you feel like we're summing you up here? This is working?
It.
Okay, good.
That's all you've got.
Okay, that's fine.
Henna will come in because obviously the red hair needs some more assistance as I've got older.
Right.
You'll see henna making an appearance in amidst the face creams.
Coming soon to an Amazon purchase history near you. Okay, very
henna.
Nice, very nice. The thing about this show is it's very hard to lie about yourself. You can't really.
Yeah.
And what's interesting as well is
you can when you say it's a blended family.
Yeah,
because
great.
You can keep saying
none of these people exist.
You can keep it's just me, but I can keep saying, oh no, that must be the kid's stepmum.
Nice.
Ice cream, definitely the stepmum, not me.
Butt plugs. Yeah, that is me, to be fair.
That's the kid's dad, yeah.
Look, and we can see you as we're recording this heading into Christmas 2024. By the time you listen to it...
it'll be Valentine's Day.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But obviously, we're at that time of the year where you're buying presents. We can see you bought a lovely gift for your cats, these Scrumbles all-natural dry cat food with 75% chicken.
That is that is probably better than the stuff I eat. That's better than the Charlie Bingham, macaroni cheese.
Yeah.
That'll have been for me probably to take to gigs.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah, snack on the megabus.
Have
How
you given
times have
Cally Beaton?
changed.
Yeah, she's not. She does eat cat food
Smells
though.
of fish.
Quite eccentric. It's amazing how we up the quality of food for our animals whilst
Oh yeah.
cutting costs for
Yeah,
ourselves.
yeah.
I'll get, essentials.
Exactly. Yeah, the basics range.
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
have to have high
Oh,
protein.
yeah.
Don't die, eat this.
Exactly.
We've got a combination padlock. here.
Yeah.
Catnip play spray.
Oh, I catnip. I mean, I'm actually quite consistent, aren't I?
Yeah, it's good though.
Yeah.
It's great. You like your cats happy. You like to travel.
Yeah.
And then
I don't mind leaving the cats a lot, but I do want them happy.
we've got some non-stick frying pans.
Yeah.
That
might not be me. I'm not a great cook. That's probably the other.
Okay.
Home.
We've bought condensation remover, moisture absorber, dehumidifiers.
For my shed, my garden shed.
Take me through the shed.
So the garden shed, I have a garden shed that's painted like a beach hut.
Wonderful.
Because I'm nothing if not a North London cliche, and because I live nowhere near Southwold, but my shed lives there in spirit. So I have a little stripy garden shed that needs replacing. It's very falling apart.
Yeah.
So everything in it's a bit damp and mouldy. So rather than spending a lot on a new shed, I just spend a lot on very bad for the environment, portable, disposable dehumidifiers.
Are these the thing that have a little bag and you can see the actual water in there?
They're more like a sort of Tupperware. They look a bit like a Tupperware with a funny sort of a lid.
And they just absorb all the water.
They have like this stuff that looks like polystyrene balls, and then the water gets absorbed into those polystyrene balls. They're not polystyrene, and then that turns into water.
And what do those taste like?
So they taste delicious.
Okay, great.
Yeah, really nice.
And then you feed those to the cats.
You feed those to friends that when you say, look, have you had one of these North London cocktails?
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's all, the water's totally natural.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're just inventing new snacks.
Yeah.
This is how Ella's Kitchen started.
This
That's basically what we're doing.
This is.
I'm obsessed with sheds, and it gives us a sense of,
Mine's tiny though, my shed. It's a 6x4.
Oh, that's small.
That's really small.
That's probably all we could fit in our backyard.
You
to be
couldn't
honest.
fit in my shed.
That's how small it is.
Yeah.
It'd be
I mean, I have to stoop to go in, but you couldn't go in.
Do you ever think about upsizing your shed?
I do think that if ever I lived with anyone ever again, because I've not lived with anyone since my kid's dad, I would.
When did you split up with your
20
kids?
years ago.
And you've had a series of
Milk frothers.
We've had milk froth. We've had My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
And My Bloody Milk Frother. Yeah.
But you haven't. That's just what you haven't found the right person, or do you think that's because you?
I don't think I want. I'm a bit commitment phobic. Yeah.
You seem to be
Yeah.
doing okay.
Yeah, I'm
with
quite
it.
very happily. I'm very happily single, actually.
Yeah.
Very happily single. Yeah, I think people mistake single for can't find anyone or celibate, but you can be single and having a really nice life.
Yes.
That is as lonely or not as you wish it to be.
Yes.
And I think that's really nice. So I'm very happy as I am.
Yeah.
But if I did have somebody who lived with me, I would like to build a much bigger shed and I'd like them to live there.
So if you are ever lucky enough to be in a relationship with Cally Beaton and she starts putting up a shed, game on, my friend.
Exactly.
Now you know.
You've broken through the commitment phobia barrier,
Oh my
but you
God.
can't come in the house apart from at weekends.
I love it.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And if you do, make sure you've got the earpods in before you start doing
exactly.
anything.
Yeah, and some warm and all the thermal things we bought for Lapland because I'm not going to pay to have it heated.
Who needs heating?
And
Just put something warm on.
And the blow-up bed. There won't be a real bed.
It's great. It's so good. And look, obviously, there's Christmas presents here as well. And one of the last things you bought, Critical Role presents.
Oh, that's my son. He's a dungeon master. Do you know much about Dungeons and Dragons?
Dungeons and Dragons.
And I didn't realise when he started doing that. I thought it was like doing Call of Duty or something.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, you're on your blooming computer. I didn't realise what an incredible. It's so creative. It's like he's writing. Well, let's not say Harry Potter because the writer of Harry Potter's had
problematic,
but like a sort of really more aware of the way the world is person writing Harry Potter, and he writes these incredible, and it's his way. It's really for someone who's autistic. It's a really brilliant way of, and they do them in person as well. They don't just do it online; they'll do in person Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. When I heard that Stephen Colbert is a dungeon master, I was like, oh,
okay,
this is kind of so. It's kind of like it's peak nerd. But it's really cool, and he's really into. So Critical Role, as you may or may not know, are
Definitely
the
don't
most successful Dungeons and Dragons global franchise. They're like
Right.
Americans, but I don't know if they're all Americans, but the whole thing hails from the States, and they're selling out stadiums.
Wow.
They are doing meet and greets where people pay like £100 to get a photo with them. We need to be doing this.
Why are we not? Why
My
aren't podcasts
mate
selling
bought
out stadiums?
Toaster,
Yes.
meet and greet, £100 to have a photo of you and my mate bought a toaster.
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
post-
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
a
They can get a
poster.
poster.
They can get whatever they want.
There's
going to
be merch available.
So Critical Role is like a really mega famous. I think they've just been bought by Hasbro or something. They're like really
Wow,
successful. It's
the
a
big
big.
guys.
But I used to take my son to Comic-Con a lot, so
Yes.
he used to love all that stuff. And at the time, I was working for, among others, as well as Comedy Central, we had Nickelodeon as one of our brands, and they brought back Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh my God, amazing.
So I got some good early access to stuff. So I went to Comic-Con quite a lot for work.
Yeah.
And then my son would come, and it's kind of cool, all that.
It's gone.
Nerds and geeks are so cool.
We've embraced the nerds,
Embrace
man.
the geek. That was Susie Dent's life advice on my podcast.
Yes.
Embrace the geek.
Oh my God, and be the weirdo.
Yeah.
God, I tell my kids that all the time. Be the guy
Yeah.
at school who's the weirdo. That's fine. If there's a thing you love doing, go and do the thing. Don't follow the herd.
Yeah, although follow the herd enough, you don't get your head kicked in. You might want to add.
That's true. Okay, I need to go back to my kid.
Yeah,
and tell them that
I
advice.
don't think you're doing.
Hi,
them
darling, just come back a second. Yeah, no, give me
Yeah.
the Dungeons and Dragons book. One second. Cally, this has been so great to chat to
Aw,
you.
Thank you for having me. It's been lovely. I feel very nostalgic about my face creams of 2017 that were expensive.
Who knew you could get attached to expensive face creams?
Yeah.
Your podcast, Namaste Motherfuckers, is it's out. It's just constant. It's there.
It's constant. We have amazing. You and I probably have some overlapping guests.
I'm
because
sure.
you get amazing guests. I get amazing
Yes,
guests.
indeed.
And excitingly, my book, Namaste Motherfuckers, which is not just extracts from the podcast, it is a manifesto for women, reclaiming the power, in particular, of midlife women. So that with loads of life hacks, every chapter has 3 proper amazing life hacks, like much more detailed than what I've just said.
Oh my God, people are going to be taking notes. Yeah, don't give us the gold.
I
Go and
didn't
buy the
give
book,
you
guys.
I gave you absolute shit. But the gold you have to buy.
If this was shit, think how good the book is, guys.
The gold is behind the paywall. So yeah, so the book's coming out in the summer, but it does also have, because on my podcast people give their life hacks, famous people give life hacks. Yeah. It's also got the life hacks and revelations about some very famous people too.
Fantastic.
So that's basically, and my tour is now everything next year is called Namaste Motherfuckers. If I have a grandchild next year, it's called Namaste Motherfuckers.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's a brand
2025,
Yes.
the year of Namaste Motherfuckers.
Excellent. Get it on a jumper.
Yes, it's on a jumper. I have merchandise as well.
It's available now.
I really do.
As you leave this podcast,
In my linktree,
please head out through the gift shop.
There is you cannot move for Namaste Motherfucking things.
Quite right, too.
Yeah.
It's a very, very good brand. And
Yes.
It's a very good philosophy. Cally Beaton, time has beaten us and we must finish here. But thank you so much for coming on My Mate What a Toaster.
Thank you.
Yeah, my mate. What a toaster. Toaster.